as to whether or not Fiifi Kwetey did well saying what he did.
Okay.
If I were to be in his position as a chief scribe of a party or an influential government functionary, I should definitely be interested in ensuring that ill-motivated individuals who've been given opportunity to serve in the government do not take an opportunistic capitalization of same to build wealth and repeat the mistakes that once took the NDC out of power and actually also saw the failure of other political systems, both in the country and outside. But Moro, you see, let us be systematic and chronological in our understanding of what just happened. There is actually, beyond the politics, a psychological aspect of the principal stance Mr. Fiifi Kwetey have just taken. And I am just asking myself, you would realize that as it stands now, the man was speaking from a position of frustration. So then, to make the argument that he may just have been merely cautioning will just be the first layer of it. If you were to cut the onion deep, you will get to the understanding that there are deeper roots that are beginning to emerge from the, administrative prosecution of oral. And the General Secretary of the ruling party is concerned knowing what is going to be. You see, in this country, we shouldn't be oblivious of how similar, fight against corruption mechanisms ended. You remember, in our own government, when we came to power very determined with the leadership of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo to fight corruption. In our quest to dig down into the roots others have done, we ran into scandals, including the popular Kroll and Associates issue. Now, in this same country, oral, which I supported and still support, provided it is legal in its approach to doing things, I still support oral. The fact of the matter is that in the early days of this regime, I think this should be around April when Richard Jakpa and his team raised the troubling concern of some container with gold bars and dollars at Sapema. We also recall that a similar operation was actually conducted at East Legon. What have become of those things? The next story we heard about the Sapema gold issue was that they were fake and some are even peeling off. Granted that they were fake, oral must be very interested in the element of criminal mindedness of people, not only the obvious tangible, dealings. So then, in our criminal jurisprudence, especially when it comes to things like, money laundering and all of that, keeping counterfeit gold, keeping counterfeit dollars, mere possession alone, Moro, is criminal culpability and should be prosecuted. So why are we not hearing anything again about that particular matter? Okay. And the many other hints, noise were made about. These things goes into a perceived failure of oral. Now, you also realize that there is a troubling trend. And what is that troubling trend? We are now being told that some of the people who actually are supposed to be prosecuted for oral, are going into plea bargains to surrender a certain amount of whatever the loot has been, 60%, 70%. And yesterday I was listening to Martin Kpebu, who is part of the oral team, and even before its inception have been extremely very vocal about the need to tackle corruption. He was saying, well, the strategic objective of oral is not just to throw people to jail. That jailing people is not their particular objective, but with the going by the literal implication of the name, Operation Retrieve or Loot. Recover. Their interest was to recover and retrieve the loot. My brother, can we be serious with our fight against corruption? Are we saying that anybody can go into public office, steal money, with the view that, okay, if I steal $10 million and even go out of government, I can go into a plea bargain or arrange with whatever body it is to surrender $6 million and still benefit $4 million? Isn't that 4 million going to be to the detriment of the Ghanaian people? You see, so these are things that are definitive of shifting stance of government's position on oral. They cannot run away from it. And so these are the issues, in my belief, that have troubled Mr. Fiifi Kwetey. Principled as he is, a standing ovation as he may have deserved, these are the real underlying issues that are troubling Mr. Fiifi Kwetey. And so he has realized that he must talk about it because those happenings are gradually undermining the strategic purpose of oral and will definitely reduce it, or with the propensity of reducing it to mere sloganeering. And the failure of oral will be very telling on this government. Even before this oral thing took proper momentum, my brother, the government was cautioned that the conception of the idea could be good. But there are a lot of lessons to learn in previous stance of governments to fight against corruption. Manasseh Azuri was outspoken in one of his write-up where he commended, or I think he titled it, landmine, that some caption around that.
I've read it.
Yes.
I know what you're talking about.
And
yes.
he was very emphatic in his admonishment to the president that, look, this rush to having oral ruled out could become that mad dog you will rear to bite your own administration. And I still believe that is actually what is beginning to be at play. Like my brother Adam said, when it comes to these acts of corruption, we need to understand that public sector corruption and political corruption are facilitated by criminal syndicates, not individuals. It is an entire unholy value chain of politicians.
Okay.
And when you have people who are interested in making money in public affairs, they make noise in opposition, and when they have the opportunity to rule, then you start beginning to see the justification for deal cuts. I think that a 1%, cut in deal without appropriate prosecutionary force to see corrupt people rot in jail, okay, and to actually see them pay for their sins is a failure unto oral. So the government must not attempt to shift the goalpost. And when I talk about the government, I mean the government and any other person who have to do with these things. The lesson we can then learn is that the frustration of the General Secretary is one that is anchored on a huge Pandora's box, which he couldn't have said on that particular platform. So I agree with you. He knows. And the statement he made was emphatic. And if we were to analyze the semantics thereof, you will realize that he said that some of those people are busy trying to cut deals with people who should be prosecuted. The statement was emphatic. The people fighting oral, some, he didn't say all, some, were busy trying to cut deals. This is an emphatic statement that suggests that, one, he knows that there are nefarious deal-cutting activities happening, and two, he knows whom these individuals are. So the caution was directly said on the forum where these people will hear it. If you enter into the market space, if you jump into the Tangasia market and you say that you're big head, actually, among the multitudes in the market, your likely target knows that he is the one you are insulting. Fiifi Kwetey's caution goes to specific people who have already gone into unholy alliance with people who may have stolen and looted against the state. And so, what else can we say? We are watching and we are ready to support. In the early days of oral, I dared my own appointees in our previous administration that don't run away. If you know you are not corruptible, come out and say it. Present yourself. So that we can distinguish between too much talking. Sometimes I think the NDC is still in a campaign mood when it comes to certain things, especially in their early days. But I think that there are important lessons to learn. Another issue we have to talk about on this whole thing is that are we seeing a rising disconnect between the government and the party? Is a question I'm asking. Is the position suggestive that some of these government functionaries are beginning to oppose the very ideals and philosophies of the party? And this has been the worry for Mr. Fiifi, to want to remind them that, and like Adam said, the party bonds the government. So these people, as part of this caution, I think, are reminded that the fact that you've been given ministerial appointments, and the fact that you are in cabinet, and the fact that you are sitting in a state agency where you have leverage to deal with these things, does not mean you should forget the party stance. And if that is the case, then it means that there is a troubling disconnect between these government functionaries and their core parent, which is the broader NDC party. But in all of these things, what policy lessons can we learn from this? Moro, it is instructive for us to remind government in, government out that fighting corruption goes beyond sloganeering, and it actually goes beyond the duplicating and triplicating of bureaucracy. I have always maintained that we don't need all of these structural frameworks to actually fight corruption. And this is the problem with the governments we have seen. If you want to fight corruption, look, we've got enough state entities. We've got a lot of institutional bodies within the framework we have, the national security framework, the legal framework, and all of that, to deal with these situations. Where you weigh public sentiments with oral, where 80% of the conversations that are centered in it are tied to, using the media, and this is something the Attorney General himself is doing. You are quick to come to the media to read a litany of things that actually condemns people who are still suspects and make us believe they are culpable in the court of public opinion. And then you tell your little brother Adam that you are building a fat dossier, watertight, so that when you go to court, you quickly win the case. You don't, as an officer of the court, you don't, and a lawyer, you don't determine the processes. Are you getting it? That is my understanding of what you said.
What I said.
You said he's building a watertight.
So because you see, we have had let me just come in quickly. In the past,
in 1 minute of my time, I guess
we've had situations where government attempted prosecuting people, and some based on just technical reasons. The case was struck
in
out.
Criminal culpability tomorrow. I'm not buying this because
what he said, is that he wants to go with watertight evidence so that he's sure.
No, but this is exactly what I said.
No, but you're saying that he doesn't deter. It doesn't mean that you must be convinced by your own argument.
I am coming. No, if you are not convinced,
don't draw him into the judiciary. No, I'm
not drawing him. I'm not drawing. So don't if you understood my argument, I didn't draw him in.
A picture that
I painted a
he was going to determine the process.
No, that is not what I said. He had already determined the fate of these people. Moro, my argument was that if you know that the factual evidential basis upon which your case must be built are not conclusive, what then is the purpose for the needless public and PR work that the Attorney General is doing? And I was very selective in my words that you do so and create a condemnable picture about these people. And after creating a condemnable picture about them, you have created in the minds of public opinion that these are thieves. We saw it in the NSS issue and most of the other issues. So one would have believed that they have gathered enough evidence, and he himself said it. Play back some of the Attorney General's videos, and you realize that he became very conclusive that they've gotten everything it takes to go and win the case. And my argument is that, and this shows that I'm not drawing him into the judiciary, no matter how tight your files are, you don't determine the process, right? Is it not the court, the judiciary have a way? We are not disagreeing. I'm just taking from what he is saying. And I'm saying that, and I'm not trying, bro, I'm not trying to do anything. You know that the Attorney General, when it comes, because of the sensitivity of criminal prosecution within our criminal jurisprudence system, which you yourself acknowledge is sensitive and requires tact, coming then to the media space, to say the kind of thing we have heard in this country, and 9 months down the lane, We've not even seen any serious presentation of these people being arraigned in court to even plead guilty or not guilty. That is a worrying trend. And I'm saying that these things, in trying to find the answer, whether there's a disconnect between government and the party, these may have been the things Mr. Fiifi is worrying. That notwithstanding, kudos to Mr. Fiifi for his principled stance. I believe in a government that is able to take your own on. And if this is how we go, we can be sure of sanctity in our democracy. But as for oral, we are monitoring and we are being with them. They must prosecute people.